What's up, average dad fans? Welcome back to another video, and today we are comparing the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I'm going to talk you through the specs, features, price, all the other key things you should know about both devices, but I am going to keep my opinions to the very end. So throughout this whole video, I'll not be hinting to what I prefer, I will just be stating the facts, but stay tuned until the very end to hear my opinions and how you can get your hands on one of the devices. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more content exactly like this. I do honest reviews, unboxings, first impressions, head-to-heads, how-tos, lots of things, all on the Average Dad channel. So again, make sure you're subscribed, and if you are subscribed, thank you. Hit the like button and comment down below when you subscribed. Let's get on with the video. So the first thing to talk about with both devices is the design. Both phones are similar in design while remaining distinguishable and separate. The Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is a large phone. It has a 6.8 inch 120Hz dynamic LTPO 2 quad WQHD Super AMOLED display. That is a mouthful. The iPhone is a 6.7 inch 120Hz, again dynamic LTPO that can go from 1 Hz all the way up to 120Hz depending on the activity you're doing. This is a Super Pro Retina display, somewhere between Full HD and Quad HD. Essentially it's the best screen iPhone have, and it's the best display Samsung have. Again, you can make your picks as to which one you prefer. Now, both phones, as mentioned, are large, and they are both now more squared off. The iPhone has been a square design, as in squared flat edges, for about 3 years now. The Samsung has always stayed true and loyal to the really curved waterfall display, and I'm somewhere in between. Luckily, Samsung this year with the S23 lineup has kept a slight waterfall display but squared off the edges slightly. So it's no longer just a full curve, it's more flat like the iPhone. And for me personally, it's the sweet spot. It works perfectly. Now continuing with design, we've obviously got the camera bumps on the back. Again, you can make your decision as to which you prefer. The rings here from Samsung or the big bump from the iPhone. And usual features and design aspects around. You've got the 5G antenna bands, you've got dual stereo speakers, you've got your charging port cut out. On the S23 Ultra, it's USB-C. On the iPhone, it's Lightning. Again, put down in the comments what you prefer, Lightning or USB-C. Now that basically covers it from a design point of view. Both phones are, for me, comfortable to hold in the hand because of the squared off edges and a bit more grip proof. They both have, as mentioned, glass on the front and back. With the iPhone, it's ceramic shield. With the S23 Ultra, it's Gorilla Glass Victus 2. Frosted backs on both, so no fingerprints or smudges. However, if you're spending the amount of money on these phones that these cost, and we'll get to that in a second, you really should put a case on it. Now before we move to the internals of the phone, I want to stick to a piece of the hardware, and that is specifically the speakers. Here are both phones playing full volume. Let me know what you think of the speakers in the comments. So again, I'll leave you to make your own decisions. I will save my opinions till the end, but that was the sound of both speakers. One thing I will say is both are top tier. There can be no denial. I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying that. These are top tier smartphone speakers. Now when it comes to battery life, these are again top tier battery life performers. Historically, the iPhone has always had the better battery life than every Android device, to be quite honest. Other than your very niche, maybe ROG gaming phone with a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, the fact that Apple can get, 10 hours screen on time from a 3,500 milliamp hour battery, is incredible. This year, however, the iPhone 14 has a slight downgrade in battery life to the iPhone 13, and the Samsung S23 Ultra is a slight upgrade to the S22 Ultra. So ultimately what that's made is almost a dead heat. In most battery comparison videos I have seen, the Samsung S23 Ultra slightly outperforms the 14 Pro Max, yet slightly underperforms against the 13 Pro Max. In my real life use, which is light to medium usage on working days, heavier on weekends probably, on those Monday to Friday, my working days, I am getting 2 full days from both phones. Now for me, personally, that's all I need. I don't even need that, to be honest. I'm happy to charge my phone every night if needed, but it's handy to know that if you're in a pinch or if you're away for a weekend and you forgot your charger, your phone's going to last you that full Saturday, Sunday with, a few percent to spare. It will be tight, but you can make it work. And again, both phones are in their highest settings. The iPhone is kind of like, it's just default, you can't really change much. But with the Samsung, that's WQHD and always with 120 Hz dynamic on, and I'm getting 2 days. So nothing else for me to say about that. Performance from the battery has been outstanding. Now as far as charging speeds, both phones aren't winning any medals here. The iPhone, I believe, is 27 watts full speed, and the Samsung S23 Ultra is 45 watts full speed. Again, if you give yourself an hour to charge your phones, you're going to get to 100%, maybe slightly over an hour for the iPhone, and I can do that. Overnight, you can have as much time as you want to charge. There are phones on the market in the Android world that can charge at 120 watt, 240 watt. The new Xiaomi charging phone, I don't even know if it's got a name yet, but they've got the technology to charge at 300 watts. That's 0% to full in under 5 minutes. Wow, like incredible. But for me, that seems like it's going to really ruin the phone and kill the battery way quicker than anything else. So I'll stick with my super efficient battery life on both these phones. Now we're moving our focus to the inside of the phone, so the internals. Completely different here, as you know. The Samsung is a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip with a special overclocked chip that is for Galaxy. The iPhone, and the 14 Pro Max anyway, is the A16 Bionic. I am not a benchmark guru. I don't do any of those Antutu or Metal. I just don't do any benchmarks. I watch other reviews and I report on my real life usage. So in my real life usage, there is not a game, there is not an editing software, there is not an app, there is not a camera process that has killed either chip. I have yet to see a glitch on my iPhone or the Samsung. Scrolling speeds are always perfect. Just tip-top performance. And again, as I've mentioned, with the battery life being so equal on both, that kind of harps on to how efficient these new SoCs from Apple and Samsung are. In 2023, it's kind of the least we can expect when you're spending so much on a phone, but rest assured you will have no performance issues whatsoever. And again, internally, software-wise, There's One UI 5.1 on an Android 13 skin, and on the iPhone, you've got iOS 16. The way these phones function software-wise is completely different. I'm not going to go into that. You're either an Android user or an Apple user. One thing I will say is, though, I am a user of both. The features that iPhone give me that used to be a big benefit to really was AirDrop and iMessage. I no longer use iMessage because of WhatsApp and other messaging tools, or I should say I rarely use iMessage. And AirDrop, for whatever reason, just doesn't seem to be as quick now. So I record all of my videos, or most of my recent videos, on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Today I'm actually using the S23 Ultra. But when I then AirDrop all the footage from the phone, it seems to take an age. And I mean, like, so what, 20 minutes of talking head footage can sometimes take up to 30 minutes to AirDrop over. I don't know if there's an issue, I don't know why, and then halfway through the process and it'll just stop and I'll have to restart it again. But ironically, on the Android phone, the Samsung, I've got an app called Snapdrop. So again, I'm going to record all this talking head footage. I'm going to then send it to my MacBook Pro via Snapdrop, and it is 2 to 3 times quicker than AirDrop. So I no longer have an issue. So if you're thinking, oh, but I've got an Apple Watch Ultra, I've got a MacBook Pro, surely I need to stick with an iPhone. Bollocks. For those watching in America, bollocks means nonsense. Now, before we talk about price, I want to touch on one of the key features and factors of which phone you should go for and which phone would win, without imparting my opinion on you yet. Cameras. The iPhone is a triple camera lens setup on the back with a front-facing 4K selfie camera. The Samsung is a quad camera setup in the back with a front-facing 4K camera. On the rear of these phones you have ultra-wides, wides and telephoto lenses. But the Samsung has a periscope zoom lens. So you've got 3 times optical and 10 times optical zoom on the Samsung. So straight away Samsung wins the zoom test. This is not giving anything away in my summary, it just wins. So Samsung, because it's got 10 times optical, is better with zoom photography. When it comes to the ultra wide and the main, the ultra wides, again, you can make your own opinions based on the footage you're seeing just now. The main lens is where it really, the closest comparison and the main competition would be. Obviously that's where the money, most of the money and the technology gets invested, which is your main wide lens, whether it be the 24 or 26mm. The iPhone's is a 48 megapixel. For the first time in history, iPhone have moved from 12 megapixel to 48 megapixel. And the results you can get from it are quite stunning. Here's a couple of examples that you can see. But the Samsung has looked at 48 megapixels, stepped all over it, and gone up to 200 megapixels. And yes, the results are, to me, clear what 200 megapixels can do, particularly when it comes to printing your photos. Blowing the photos up when they're 200 megapixels, you can't pixel peep, you can zoom in as much as you like, crop the photo, and it's going to look stunning. Sharp, clear, consistent. Really impressed with both camera setups, but that 200 megapixel is impressive. Now finally, before I give my overall summaries and opinions, is price expensive? Both phones are expensive. The iPhone's £1,250 in the UK for the 256GB version. The Samsung is £1,250 for the 256GB version. The Samsung has 12GB of RAM. The iPhone has like 6 or 8, but that doesn't matter. It works completely differently in the iOS world compared to the Android world. So effectively, same pricing points. if you were lucky enough to pre-order your Samsung, you were getting double storage for the same price as the 256. So like myself, I got the 512GB version for £1,250. So that was well worth it, because it is now back to its normal price of £1,400 for half a terabyte of storage. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. I could see your faces, you're all just bursting with excitement to know which phone do I prefer and which phone am I going to be selling to you at a fair discounted rate, because you are my loyal viewers, and especially those that have watched to this point in the video. Well, drum roll, I am keeping the S23 Ultra. I just am. I've said it before in this video, and I'm blown away every day I use it. The performance, the camera performance is just unreal. The photos and video the Samsung take, I'm saying it right now, are better than the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I'm putting it out there. The battery life is better because I'm using the always on display all the time. I'm using a WQHD display. The battery life's better than the iPhone. It just is. I prefer Android now than iOS. iOS to me is trying, but it's almost like your parent or your grandparent trying to be cool. That's what iOS feels to me. Now hands up and put in the comments, do your parents or grandparents own an iPhone or an Android? I can almost guarantee it's going to be more on the iPhone than it is on the Android, purely because it's easy to use. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I review tech as a hobby. So for me, fiddling about with features and customizing my phone is something I enjoy doing. So Android just works better for me. And as I mentioned, the fact that Snapdrop is quicker than AirDrop, that cures everything for me. Just brilliant. And then overall design, I think the S23 Ultra looks better than the iPhone. I think the iPhone has run out of ideas. The dynamic island, I've never really used it, to be honest. I forget it's there as a feature and I just don't use it. So ultimately what that means is I'm keeping the S23 Ultra. I think it's the best phone on the planet right now. Not including any foldable phones for any Vivo Fold army people watching. I still love my foldable devices. But as far as a normal candy bar style phone, the S23 Ultra wins fairly clearly for me. But I'm selling the iPhone, so if you made it to this point of the video, to reward you for that, I am selling the 256GB graphite or black is it they call it? I don't know, but it's the black version of the 14 Pro Max with 3 official Apple cases priced at £50 each. So when you add that up, £1,250 for the phone, £150 for the cases would be £1,400. What seems fair to me and to my viewers, because it is a few months old now, £999. Comment down below. Message me on Instagram if you're looking to buy an iPhone 14 Pro Max for £999. Box, charger, or no charger, box, charging cable. Maybe if you're nice, I'll throw in a wall plug as well. So yeah, comment down below if you're interested in that. And until next time, where I will be reviewing a nice new product that has been kindly shipped to me for free. I will be giving one away as well. I'm not going to tell you what, but I'm finally getting some really quality goods sent to me, and I'm able to give, they're sending me 2, so I'm able to give one away. So stay tuned for that one. Be dropping that in the next week. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, comment, do all that good stuff, folks. I really appreciate you watching, and again, help me grow 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. Seems doable. Until next time.